Let's talk about chocolate chip cookies. Welcome back to Sprung on Food. I'm your host, Kae Sprung. This season, we're talking about favorite foods, the history behind it, and the role it plays in the world today. Joining me today is founder and CEO of Moms First and host of My So-Called Midlife, Reshma Saujani. Reshma, welcome.
Oh, I'm so excited to be here.
My pleasure. Thank you for being here. I'm very excited to talk about I'm going to be bold. I'm going to say it's not just yours, but probably like millions of other people's favorite food, chocolate chip cookies. Tell me all about your relationship with this food and why it is your favorite.
Oh my God. I think it's always been my favorite since the time I was little. I've loved chocolate chip cookies. I love the gooey on the inside, the little bit crispy on the outside, the ones that kind of taste a little bit more like a cake rather than being like thin. I would bake them when I was little for comfort. I still bake, I baked a lot of chocolate chip cookies after the election results or before the election results. It is like my comfort food. Everyone knows if it's a long day for me, my team will always have like a bunch of chocolate chip cookies nearby or know to like
Ooh.
get it for me. Yeah. So it's like, I don't know if that's like I'm a Pavlovian dog or something like that. I don't know. But it's like, but cookies are like my jam. They're the things that I want them if I'm celebrating. I want them if I'm feeling sad. I want them if I need to pick me up. Like it's like a one cookie for all emotions kind of thing. I like to bake them.
All encompassing. And is there, not to get too deep about it, but we can, is there a pivotal moment where you were like, chocolate chip above all others, this is my favorite? Was there one in particular, a special one that you had, or was it just something that was always kind of around and you can't even pinpoint maybe a specific moment?
I don't think I can. I don't think I can pinpoint a specific moment. And look, I like lots of cookies.
Mm.
I like to bake lots of cookies, but I feel like I have some emotional connection to chocolate chip cookies in particular. Like I'll give you, like I distinctly remember in COVID, there was like a farm that had chocolate chip cookie dough that was amazing.
Where was this farm?
It was like in the Hamptons, Long
Okay.
Island.
Okay.
And so I would go and I would pick it up, at the beginning of the week. And every day after I finished, a crazy day, we're all kind of living like crazy lives at that period. I would just bake. I would take one scoop and I would take one chocolate chip cookie and I would bake just one for me, like to perfection. And I really think that helped me get through the pandemic.
Yeah, well, they do say that, what is it? Desserts fall backwards, stressed. So when you're stressed, make desserts, eat them. It's science, makes you feel better.
Certainly did for me.
Well, you said that you love to bake them as well. Do you have a go-to recipe of your own? Have you made your own recipe?
I do. So my husband, as you know, Nahal, also likes chocolate chip cookies. He's allergic to dairy.
Right.
So I found a recipe online that I could like essentially make it, dairy free. So with vegan butter, with vegan
Yes.
chocolate chips, he can still, he can eat eggs. So, and they're so good that both he likes them and my son likes them, Sean, who is not, allergic to dairy.
Sure.
So it works for everybody.
Oh,
You're making me want to bake them right now, but yes.
I mean, listen, you may have some motivation after this to do it, and we're going to be talking about them. So it might just spark some hunger. Well, this is amazing. I think to better understand and appreciate our food, we've got to know where it came from.
Yes. I'm so excited to learn.
Yes, well, I'm excited to teach. Let's head back to the 1800s. Chocolate was branching out from its hot drink roots and started popping up in custards, puddings, and yes, cookies. By the early 1900s, thanks to exciting innovations like temperature-controlled ovens, America's cookie making was on the rise. Before that, though, cookies were a labor of love. Sweeteners were pricey, and baking meant hovering over a fireplace, not exactly a fun Tuesday night activity. Even when chocolate made its way into cookies, it wasn't as user-friendly as it is today. While we don't know whose idea it was to first incorporate chocolate into cookies, there was one woman who gets credit for popularizing it. Enter Ruth Graves Wakefield. Ruth wasn't just any baker. She was a home economics teacher, a dietitian, and basically a kitchen scientist. In 1930, she and her husband Kenneth opened the Toll House Inn in Whitman, Massachusetts. Despite the name, the building had never actually been a toll house, but it was a prime pit stop on the road between Boston and Cape Cod. With her culinary skills, Ruth crafted a menu that quickly earned a stellar reputation, taking the restaurant from 6 to 60 tables. Her desserts in particular were the stuff of local legend. One of her hits was a butterscotch cookie that kept customers coming back for more. But Ruth wasn't one to get too comfortable. She wanted to wow her guests with something new. Around 1938, Ruth decided to switch things up. Now, according to legend, she took a Nestle semi-sweet chocolate bar, chopped it into chunks, allegedly with an ice pick, kinda badass, and stirred the pieces into her butter cookie dough. The result? Absolute magic. The chocolate softened but held its shape because of the specific chocolate to cocoa butter ratio in the bar, creating gooey, melty pockets. While some say it was a happy accident, Ruth's meticulous nature suggests otherwise. There are stories out there that claim that she was hoping to make a chocolate cookie and expecting the chopped chocolate to melt and disperse throughout. Well, food science will tell us otherwise. The only way to fully incorporate chocolate into a cookie would be to completely melt it first, usually with butter, like you would for making brownies, or just sticking with cocoa powder. But she knew what she was doing, and she nailed it. The Toll House Chocolate Crunch cookie was an instant hit. Guests couldn't get enough, and Ruth's recipe spread like wildfire. There's some debate about the original recipe, of course, where the recipe includes chopped nuts of an unspecified variety. The original size was also smaller than what we're used to today. In the original recipe, just a half teaspoon of dough was baked, resulting in about a $1/2 sized cookie. Nuts or not, and regardless of the size, newspapers published it, and soon everyone wanted a piece of the action. Reshma, are you into nuts in your chocolate chip cookies? And what do you think of that original portion size?
Too small.
Too small.
Like too small. I mean, I like a big cookie.
Something substantial, yes.
Something substantial. Kind of feels like it's in a meal of itself. I do like nuts in my cookie, but I don't, I'll get a Levian cookie, right, which is a great chocolate chip cookie with the walnut version. But when I bake, I don't put nuts in it.
Okay, so only when we're getting it at places, if it comes with it, we'll do it. Otherwise, if you have free reign,
right,
without.
Right.
And any type of nut in particular. This one doesn't have it in the recipe. I think it may have been walnut.
Walnuts. I feel like
common,
that's common, right? Like
yeah.
I think the walnut chocolate chip thing works.
So that's maybe what she was doing. Well, the cookie recipe gained additional exposure through radio shows and food columns. Ruth herself was interviewed about her innovative creation, boosting the cookie's profile even further. Word of Ruth's cookies reached the ears of Andrew Nestle himself. Sales of Nestle's semi-sweet chocolate bars were already spiking in New England, thanks to the cookie craze. Sensing a golden opportunity, Nestle struck a deal with Ruth in 1939. In exchange for printing her recipe on their wrappers, Ruth received a lifetime supply of chocolate and was paid $1.
No.
And began doing other consulting work with Nestle. Now, Reshma, I know what a champion you are for women's equality and equity. What do you think about this deal?
Oh my God, that's devastating. Horrible deal. I'm so sad for her.
Well,
$1, that is like probably, oh my God.
Yeah, I did. I went to different calculators because I was like, this can't be right. This can't be right. But it only results to $23 today. What would you have told her if you were there, but side by side with her, and they were like, here's $1?
I would say absolutely, like, no way, Jose. Like, I mean, I at least $1 million, or at least what the equivalent of what would be $1 million. I mean, that was, you said it was 1938, right? When she designed
1939. Yeah, when they wanted to strike this deal. And I mean, I guess, they always say hindsight is 2020. So we don't know what
a good deal would be. Right.
Been, yeah. Or like we know now looking back, wow, this was incredible. But maybe at the time, I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's wild because it is still one of the most famous chocolate chip cookies. Like you still would want a Toll House cookie, a chocolate chip cookie. It's like still the best. So it's like survived time. And it's sad that it was her innovation and that didn't get, because it's not just the chocolate, it's the right. It's the dough that makes it so delicious.
Yeah, and for her, it was, I guess, a combination of everything, right? So it's the dough itself, it's the incorporation of the chocolate, it's the ratio of everything, it's
Yes.
how it was baked, how long it was baked, the size it was baked, apparently too small, but whatever. And so yeah, it was the full recipe. We know that unfortunately, or if anybody out there doesn't know, that unfortunately you cannot trademark or copyright a recipe,
You
which is
can't? I did not know that.
you cannot, which is unsettling and annoying, but it is the way that it is, or how the cookie crumbles. So I guess maybe in a way she was like, I guess I'll take $1 and a lifetime supply of chocolate, and that's good.
But it's still a toll. But you could can I have a question though? But
Yeah,
you can brand your recipe, right? So it was still the Toll House cookie. Could you?
you can
No.
brand a name.
So anyone, for example, could take like okay. So another thing I love is pancakes. So you can
Sure.
take the famous James Beard pancakes, take the exact same recipe, and sell it as like Reshma's pancakes, and he can't sue me.
Listen, I'm not a lawyer, so I can't give legal advice
Yeah.
on this. But if you were to, I'm not sure who would want to necessarily buy it, because I think that's the thing too. Not a lot of people are buying recipes unless you're making a cookbook and then you're putting everything together.
Yeah.
And with today's technology, if somebody were to potentially put in the recipe or the ingredient list and the quantities and cross-reference that, and it leads back to somebody else's, they may be like, hey, no, no, no.
Right.
So it's a tricky situation.
Did
So maybe
anyone ever interview her and ask her why she only asked for $1, or there's no record of that?
no record of that. So, and maybe it wasn't discussed. Well, the only thing that I could find, interestingly enough, this is going to piss you off tremendously, is that legend has it she never even ended up getting the $1.
No, that's so wrong.
I know, but her name lives on, so I don't know
Her
if
name and
makes it worth it.
so did Nestle do that? Did they make sure that she was remembered?
Well, I think the population at large, but we'll start finding out a little bit more. Nestle took things a step further. To make life easier for home bakers, they started scoring their chocolate bars for simpler chopping. See Ice Picks. Then in 1941, they unveiled a game changer, semi-sweet chocolate morsels. These pre-made chips were a dream come true, making chocolate chip cookies even easier to whip up. Nestle's marketing team worked overtime, featuring the Toll House cookie recipe in promotional booklets. During World War II, New England soldiers shared care packages of homemade cookies with their fellow troops, spreading the cookie gospel far and wide. By the 1940s, chocolate chip cookies were on their way to becoming America's favorite treat. Nestle Toll House cookies didn't just stop at being a recipe. Over the decades, they'd become a household name and a commercial empire. Once Ruth Wakefield's original recipe gained popularity, Nestle took on the responsibility of making the process easier for home bakers, not just by selling morsels, but by going into the pre-made cookie dough market. Reshma, I know that you're the type to enjoy getting some cookie dough, and we mentioned the farm. Are you also one to just eat the cookie dough as is, or are you strictly like bake it only?
I mean, I may take a bite,
Okay.
but I'm not someone who's like, I'm eating a gallon of it. I also
Okay.
like to I like fresh cookie dough. So I don't really
Mm.
buy the store-bought cookie dough.
Aha. And the place that the farm, well, it was made on a farm, so I'm assuming, but they say don't do that. But I'm assuming that they were making like fresh cookie dough, just putting.
wrapped in saran wrap.
Wow.
Correct, exactly.
Wow. Should we give this place a shout out? Do you
I
remember the name of
know. I
it?
need to remember what the name of the farm is of the
Okay.
cookie
Okay.
dough. It'll
Well,
come to me.
it'll come to you.
Okay, it's Corwitz Farm.
Corwitz Farm.
COR Farm Stand. Yep.
Okay. Shout out to them for their fresh cookie dough. Amazing.
Yes. I actually think they stopped after the pandemic
Oh,
making that
no.
cookie dough because it was so good.
You
And
were
they're
their,
like,
you sold them out. You were their number one
basically, I
customer.
probably told everybody about it too.
Well, I'm sure they appreciate your patronage. Well, as the chocolate chip cookie phenomenon grew, other bakers and bakeries began experimenting with the recipe. Variations emerged, including adjustments to the texture, chewy versus crispy, and ingredient substitutions, as you mentioned. These innovations kept the recipe fresh and adaptable to different tastes. Commercial bakeries couldn't resist capitalizing on the popularity of chocolate chip cookies. By the 1950s, you could find them in bakeries and diners where they became staple menu items. Their simplicity and broad appeal made them easy to bake in bulk while satisfying a wide audience. Other companies, seeing the cookie success, introduced their own chocolate chip morsels and marketed recipes to compete with Nestle's Toll House brand. This competition further spread the popularity of the cookie and made chocolate chips widely available, ensuring the recipe could thrive outside of Nestle's reach. Reshma, do you have, when you're making your own at home, do you have your own go-to chocolate chip or morsel brand?
Yeah, so I use, because I'm making those vegan chocolate chip
Mm-hmm.
cookies, I use vegan chocolate chips. So it's Enjoy Life mini chips.
Ooh, mini chips. So are these like smaller than the standard size?
They are smaller than the standard size.
Oh, how
Everyone
fun.
seems to like that. I don't really like when I'm baking, morsels that come in that square.
Okay, like the chunks.
Yeah, I don't really like that. I don't like the way the cookie comes out with the chunks.
Any particular reason? Is it is it a texture thing? Do you think it's just too much in one isolated
Maybe
location?
it's too much in one isolated location.
Okay, so that with the little guys, we
Yeah.
get a further
I,
dispersion of them.
I also like a good white chocolate cookie.
Aha. Now, mixed with chocolate or just white chocolate on its own?
I've never done it mixed with white chocolate.
So the two
I,
never came together?
I've never done like a black white chocolate chip cookie. Is there such thing?
Listen, you could make it after this when your craving hits. I'm telling you,
Yes.
and that could be here you go. So here's what we're doing. I will give you $1 and you can make this recipe. Now, this could be Reshma's chocolate chip cookie, and it could be with
Yes.
the white chips and the,
I'm gonna have to
yeah,
try it.
shoot
Yes.
for the stars.
Shoot for the stars. I'm gonna do it.
Well, today, Nestle Toll House products are distributed globally, making chocolate chip cookies accessible all over the world. In the US, their cookie dough is stocked in almost every major grocery store. Nestle also leverages partnerships with wholesale clubs, online retailers, and food delivery services to expand their reach. Beyond grocery stores, Toll House cookies make appearances in school cafeterias and quick service restaurants. Nestle's ability to supply large-scale clients ensures that the chocolate chip cookie legacy reaches even those who don't bake at home. These days, chocolate chip cookies are the ultimate crowd pleaser. They've evolved into countless variations where you can find multiple CPG brands making chocolate chip cookies like Chips Ahoy, Famous Amos, Pepperidge Farm, and Tate's, sold in every retailer and grocery store, and countless bakeries making them their signature item. These cookies are more than just a dessert. They're a cultural icon, a symbol of comfort, and a go-to for everything from bake sales to midnight snacks. And fun fact, Nestle still prints the original Toll House recipe on their chocolate morsel packages. Reshma, what do you think about the backstory of the chocolate chip cookie?
It's amazing. I did not realize that it was around for so long. And it was like such like a staple. I love the fact that they were mini cookies before they were
Very mini, very crunchy. Yeah,
very
apparently.
mini, very crunchy, like before they were like the kinds of cookies. I am very sad that she only got $1.
Yes,
And
we
it's
all are.
amazing that there's something, because it is true. Like I've probably tried, I don't know, 1,000 different chocolate chip cookies. Like if I'm in a new
Ooh,
city, I like to do a chocolate chip cookie tour. You know what I mean?
I
Or I
love
research
that.
where's the best chocolate chip cookie, like anytime I'm traveling. So I've tried a lot, even like in England or, wherever.
Wow.
And I still think like I would say Toll House is probably in the top 5. There's something
Is that right?
distinct about eating a Toll. You're eating a Toll House cookie. It doesn't taste like any other cookie.
Well, that's an endorsement if I've ever heard one. And
Yeah.
and maybe that's a testament to how long that the brand and the recipe, lasted because of, I think maybe one, the nostalgia, but then two, if it's quality and very tasty and people are enjoying it, they're not really going to deviate.
Right. Like why mix it up? I mean, the only thing I think is like in good, like is like the Levian cookie, but it's very different, right? The Toll House is like crispy on the outside, moist in the center,
Yes, I mean, I think that there can be a full-on complete other episode debate with multiple people about the types of chocolate chip cookies that people enjoy, because there's the camp that likes, the Tate's variety, the
Yeah.
thin,
Thin,
crispy,
crispy, no
get that out of here
gooiness.
for me.
Right.
But yeah, I think I am similar to you, if I'm not mistaken. You kind of like the crispy,
On the
the
outside.
chewier on the inside, softer.
And I like
That's
I like to warm it up.
Like fresh out of
And
the oven, right?
fresh out of the oven, a little bit hot, kind of burns my tongue, but that's
Oh,
okay.
it's worth
And
it.
then put a little vanilla ice cream on it. Like, forget about it.
Ooh la la, the ultimate indulgence.
Yeah,
I
the
love it.
ultimate indulgence. Like, how sometimes they bake them in like those little with a skillet, the chocolate
Mhm.
chip skillet cookie. Woof.
Yes. Oh yeah, that's your ultimate cookie
Yeah,
right there.
yeah.
Oh, incredible. So there are some skeptics out there who aren't so sure about the origin story. Were these cookies a popular item at a local inn that got the attention of a chocolate company that made one woman famous and gave the company a priceless recipe? Or was this a prearranged collaboration that masked as a romantic tale of cookie magic? Whatever the truth, these cookies have made their way boldly into pop culture. Cookie Monster, one of the most beloved characters on Sesame Street, frequently indulges in cookies, with chocolate chip cookies being his ultimate weakness. Debbie Fields revolutionized the chocolate chip cookie market in the late 1970s by opening her namesake chain of stores. Mrs. Fields cookies became a symbol of freshly baked comfort, featured in malls, airports, and standalone stores. Reshma, I know amongst your thousands of cookies, have you had Mrs. Fields cookies?
Absolutely. But you know what?
Okay.
I prefer the Mrs. Fields cinnamon sugar cookie over the chocolate chip
Ooh,
cookie.
I have not had this. What is that like?
It's like a snickerdoodle. It's like delicious. But
Oh,
there's something about I use something, it just reminds me of my childhood.
yes, the nostalgia. For me personally, maybe I've had a Mrs. Fields regular cookie, but the only thing that I remember from there are the cookie cakes. Those were like legendary, I think. Very,
Yeah.
you were like the cool kid if you had a
The
like a
Mrs. Fields
cookie.
cookie cake.
Yes, and that's what I remember.
Yeah.
But the regular cookies, I'm not so sure.
We used to go to this Woodfield Mall by my house. It was called Woodfield Mall in Illinois. It was like, they had a Mrs. Fields there. And I just remember every time we went on the way out, I'd get a cinnamon sugar cookie.
Oh, I love that. And that helps solidify your love for cookies, I'm sure. It didn't hurt.
Deep. It's deep. It's a deep love.
Well, in a memorable episode of Friends, Phoebe shares her grandmother's secret chocolate chip cookie recipe that was an heirloom, only to discover it's the one printed on Nestle Toll House chocolate morsel bag.
What was her name? Nestle Tollhauser. Nestle Toll House?
Were you a Friends fan?
Oh,
Do you
huge
remember
Friends
this
fan.
episode?
I don't remember the episode, but I'm a huge Friends fan.
Okay, so maybe
I need to go back and watch it.
get yourself a
Yeah,
fresh
yeah,
baked
yeah.
cookie.
I am. I'm gonna
And
watch it.
cheers the episode.
Absolutely.
Yes. The Guinness World Record for the world's biggest chocolate chip cookie is held by Immaculate Baking Company on May 17th, 2003 in Flat Rock, North Carolina. Reshma, can
How
you
big
guess
is it?
how big is it and how much it weighed?
100 pounds?
Okay, 100 pounds. And how big do you think it was in terms of
30 feet?
Okay, I'm about to blow your mind. The cookie was 102 feet in diameter and weighed 40,000 pounds.
Crazy. What oven did they find for that?
They made their own. Yes, they custom fashioned their own. It was impressive. They really wanted the title.
They wanted the title. Wow. 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 Okay.
The chocolate chip cookie emoji was added in 2015 as part of Unicode 8.0. While it's not explicitly a chocolate chip cookie emoji, the visual representation across most platforms depicts a chocolate chip cookie, solidifying its connection to the iconic treat. And the record for most chocolate chip cookies baked in 1 hour was set by Baking Memories for Kids on December 7th, 2019. Any guess on how many cookies they baked in an hour?
50,000?
Oh, okay. Well, I think the other one made you confident.
Yes.
It's something to aspire to, but they did bake 6,018 cookies.
Wow.
Yeah, but still very impressive. Don't feel bad, guys. You have 50,000's coming your way in the future. Because chocolate chip cookies pretty much rank as #1 in the US, they're frequently featured in viral food trends. Recipes for perfect cookies, giant cookies, and unique spins like air-fried or, as you like them, skillet-baked, dominate social media platforms. And if you're looking to celebrate the beloved baked good, National Chocolate Chip Cookie Day is August 4th. Reshma, do you have any other pop culture moments that you can think of or final words about chocolate chip cookies?
I just love them. Everyone calls me the Cookie Monster. On my birthday, people just send me cookies. Everyone knows that, like, that's the way to my heart. If I'm celebrating something, that to send me cookies. And they've just brought me, again, I think, a lot of joy and a lot of comfort. So I love them, and I'm grateful to them. And I'm grateful to the woman who designed them.
Ah, grateful for all the things. Do you have your calendar marked every August 4th and celebrate the day?
No, but I will now.
Okay, our to-do list.
Our to-do list, for
Freshly
sure.
baked cookie, check. Watch the Friends episode, check. Celebrate every August 4th and have that repeating annually, check.
Check.
Ah, amazing. Well, Reshma, thank you so much for sharing your love of chocolate chip cookies and helping me to share its story.
Thank you for educating me and for, like, giving me some fun facts. I can't wait to share this with my boys.
Thanks for watching. You can find links and more info in the description below. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. See you next time.